Yes?
Could you have the last speaker spell her name for us, please?
It looks like C-A-M-P.
C-A-M-P.
Okay, thank you very much.
The next speaker was listed as a maybe, and her name is Margaret Schulte. I'm sorry, did she decide not to speak? Okay, all right. Then John Horny is the next speaker. And Judge Cummins, we don't have an address for this next speaker.
I'll have him do it orally.
Okay.
If you could. If you could spell your name and give us the address, both, sir.
My name is John Horny. It's spelled H-O-R-N-Y, and I live at 111 South Center Street in Seaboing, Michigan, 48759.
Thank you, Mr. Horny. You may continue.
Yes. I would like to say that I'd like to see a windmill on every piece of property in the Huron County. Not necessarily the big ones, but everybody should have wind energy. They should have, I'd like to see solar on every house in the county. I'd like to see many other new things that we can have in the county. There is room for the large windmills when they're properly placed and the problems are taken care of beforehand. We've had made some mistakes in the initial ones, but there is better deals going out there now, and one of the top men in the state who designed the Washington State windmill structures told us that we need to be looking at some of the problems before they develop. You need to talk to your neighbors before you put one up. So this is everybody should be involved in the process, and I think some of the problems we've had, that there hasn't been as much transparency as we've had before. But properly zoned, there's nothing wrong with the windmills. We have to get used to a lot of things in life. I look out here and there's nobody been around much longer than I have. But I've been involved in renewable energy for a long, long time. Back in the early 80s, we were looking at methane digesters. They worked very well, but it cost 4 cents to produce it. Consumers was getting 8 cents. They offered the farmer 2 cents. We could have cleaned up the whole state of Michigan with our manure if we'd have been lucky. They laughed at Jimmy Carter for talking about alternate energy back in the late 70s, and they still laugh at him, but he was right. I'm very fortunate to have worked with Saginaw Valley State University on alternate energy. We've looked at making pellets out of paper here in the county. They're doing very well. There's a lot of things that we need to be doing. We're making pellets out of muck, and that's working. All of these things need to be looked at. I've got one other thing that I'd like to bring up that probably nobody has ever heard of. We're looking at a new source of burning all our trash, all our rubber tires, all the things that we need to be doing. And one of them is we are looking what the Public Service Commission does on the transmission lines. Because we're looking at, in Huron County, producing about 85 megawatts of electricity, which is not a large amount, but it would be more than we have the lines, the transmission lines, or the grid being able to take this. So we are very interested in what the Public Service Commission looks at and how much wind we can produce up here. And this plasma syngas is a ways of the future. We can produce ethanol and electricity by burning our trash. From a ton of coal or a ton of rubber tires, we can produce 110 gallon of ethanol. And that's renewable energy. We've got two of the largest car companies are looking at a reliable source of ethanol to be used along with electricity in our cars. Tell me what's wrong with electrical cars. And we need that electricity. How we produce it is important. And wind is definitely going to be part of it. Whether it's you have your own windmill and your own battery, that's something to be determined. I'm not going to be around many more years to be able to say that all the new things are all going to work, but a lot of them will. I had the first mechanical pickle picker in the state of Michigan. I had the first chemical to put about 7,000 migrants out of work. At that time, they were able to get into the General Motors, and they have assimilated into our economy. And that's a good thing. Most of the things that we need to be looking at are ahead of us, not behind us. What's happened in the past 30 years ago with the sewage deal, we should forget those things. We should forget animosities towards one another and look for the good of, I've got 12 kids, 21 grandkids, and 2 great-grandkids, and I want to see their future. I had one son from Allegan came over just to see the windmills. He didn't come to see me because, you know, I'm getting old and you don't need me anymore. Marveled with his grandson how these windmills look. And I'm was very proud to show him that, and properly placed, there's a place for these windmills. Thank you.